The Black Room, Part 2. Manel continues, saying, "Before I stepped into the room, the old buffet attendant suddenly appeared in front of me, like death, and closed the door in my face, saying violently, 'Don't open the door again, do you understand? And stay away from here for your own good, girl, so that you don't regret it.' And then I was silent for 5 minutes. She looked at the doctor's eyes in horror, and then the doctor said, 'Come on, Manal, what happened? Did you enter the dark room?' Here she screamed hysterically again and found nothing in front of her to throw at, except the chair she was sitting on, and she screamed angrily, 'Are you saying the dark room again, and who told you about it?' I knew they would not leave me alone, but I will not tell anyone about them, no matter what you do." The doctor found himself lying on the ground, unable to scream, with this heavy chair on top of him, and Manel was screaming hysterically, "Tell me who told you about this now, man, or I will kill you." He tried to speak and make her calm down, but he could not. His head was bleeding profusely, and he felt dizzy. That stupid girl hit him with all her might and threw the chair in his face. He felt that he would lose consciousness at any moment, so he grabbed that button with difficulty and pressed it to call the nurse outside, and that was the last thing he remembered. The nurse entered and found the doctor unconscious, bleeding profusely, and Manal standing in the corner of the room crying. Hysterically, the nurse shouted at her as she approached the doctor, "What have you done, you crazy person?" Manal screamed while trembling, "I didn't do anything to him. They did it. Believe me." The nurse responded in anger, "Oh, you are really deranged." Then she called the cleaner and the clinic guard and called the ambulance and the police. The doctor was taken to the nearest hospital, and Manal went to the police station. Then she was transferred to a hospital for psychiatric and severe diseases, where Manal always sat alone under the bed, covering her face with the bed sheet, and there they let her do whatever she wanted, as long as she would not harm anyone. Except for that nurse, Murad, the girl liked and attracted him, and he could not help but think about her and her presence under the bed. He was always watching her, and she did not leave from under the bed, even when she had fun. She did not go out for a walk in the garden like other patients. One day, the doctors tried a lot with her, but she was in a state of panic and hysterical screaming. It would hurt her if someone tried to force her to get out from under the bed. So they let her do what she wanted, and on that day, all the patients went out of the ward to the hospital garden for a walk, and Manal remained as she was under the bed, covering her face with the bed sheet, and did not leave. He approached her slowly, looking around him right and left, and finally he got the opportunity that he had wished for since Manal entered the hospital. Knowing her story, he closed the ward door quietly behind him, making sure that no one felt his presence with her in the ward alone. He went down to the bed and lifted the bed cover from her face, saying, "Don't be afraid, Manal. Come with me and don't scream, please." "What do you want from me?" "I want you." "What do you mean? If you think I am crazy, then you are wrong, as I am wiser than all of you. I know that you are not crazy like others. You are special and beautiful. Get Manal out from under the bed and tell me what you saw there that day. What did you see? In that far, dark place, do you remember telling me to relax and I will help you? I know that they are hovering around you. I went through the same circumstances as you years ago, and I saw them, and no one believed me, except for my father who helped me. He told me to ignore them, and since that day, they have been appearing to me, and I have learned not to focus on them, so that I can live, because I know that they live around us, and not everyone sees them, but we saw them for a reason that no one knows except God. She looked at him for a long time, then said, after taking a deep breath, while looking at the dark corner of the room next to the door, saying, "Do you see what I see over there by the door?" He shook his head. Yes, he sees everything, and he will not speak until they don't put him with her in the insane hospital in the men's ward. There are things we should not tell anyone about, even if we see them constantly.